Cardinal numbers 1 to 10. In this chapter, we're going to look at numbers in Hebrew, how numbers work in Hebrew. And we have a few modules. The first one deals with numbers 1 to 10. The cardinal numbers, these are the counting numbers, 1, 2, 3. And then we'll look at the ordinal numbers, the ones that are ordered, so first, second, third, etc. And then we'll have a module on the teens, 11 through 19. And then one on the tens, 20 through 99. And finally, we'll look at larger numbers like 100 and 1000. So let's start with 1 to 10. And first, we want to look at the number 1. How does that work in Hebrew? Number 1 is an attributive adjective. We'll see that number 2 and number 3 and 4 and 5, they are substantives, so they function more like a noun. Number 1 functions more like an adjective, and an attributive adjective. Now, if you remember back when we talked about attributive adjectives, they are words that modify nouns, and they have to agree, attributive adjectives have to agree with the noun they modify in 3 ways, right? Gender, number, and definite status. So gender, both the adjective and the noun have to be either both feminine or both masculine. Number, they either have to both be plural, both be singular, or both be dual. Dual is a possibility too. And definite status means they both have to be definite or indefinite. Now, in the case of number 1, being an attributive adjective, it has to agree with its number, or with the noun it modifies, in gender and number, but actually only occasionally definite status. So it's a bit different than the regular attributive adjectives that way, because this doesn't always hold. But gender and number, it does agree with the noun it modifies. So I'll just get rid of that for a moment. Now, what are they? What we're going to do here is I'll write the grid that I used to write for adjectives and nouns. It's been a long time since we've done these sort of things, but okay, absolute and construct, masculine and singular. I should move this over a bit. Okay, the masculine absolute form is echad. Echad. Okay, ends in a dalet. The feminine is the same first 2 letters, but it ends in a tav. And we've seen tav as a characteristic ending for feminine words. Tav and hey are typical endings for feminine words, and the vowels are 2 patachs. So achat, echad, achat. And I suppose I should put this other one in here. If this is in pause, then it looks, let me write down our same consonants. Oops. Have the chet there. The aleph and the chet go through all the forms. It's the endings that are different. Endings in the vowels. So the same consonants, but if it's in pause, like if there's an atnach there, then what you get is you get a segol as the first, and you get, and this one lengthens in pause. So echat, echad, echat. It's the very same as this, except for this last letter. So again, tav marks the feminine. Now, we can also have these numbers in construct, so I'll write those down. The masculine, again, has the same letters with dalet, and the vowels are 2 patachs, similar to this. So achad, achat. So it's this dalet that will distinguish the 2, dalet and tav. And the feminine construct looks just like this feminine absolute. So I'll just put a ditto here. So again, if you remember, dalet is at the end of all the masculine ones, both of them, and tav is at the end of all the feminine ones, which is consistent with what we've seen before with nouns. Tav is a typical feminine ending. Then you can keep these 2 straight. Echad, achat, or echat, but still the tav. Achad, achat. So there you have the number 1. Now there's also a plural. These here, of course, are all singular, right? Singular adjectives. And you would expect that, given that you're dealing with number 1. But you can actually have a plural, and I'll show you an example in a moment. There's not many in the Bible. I did a search. I found 5. So 5 in the plural as opposed to 977 examples of number 1 in the singular. So there's not many of them, but it does exist. Let's look at some examples. Here we have Yom Echad, and this is from Genesis 1:5, or at least occurs there, maybe elsewhere as well. Yom is masculine, and this one, Echad, it's got the dalet, right? So it's masculine as well. So masculine and masculine, so degrees in gender. And we said it has degree in gender and number. Well, they're both singular, right? So Yom Echad, day 1. Okay, now this is our plural example. This is from Genesis 11, verse 1. Udivarim achadim. So here's our achad, right? And it's got this im ending, plural ending. And davar, in this context, it means one speech. It has to do with the Tower of Babel. They all had one language and one speech. So because speech here is in the plural, then the number 1, acting as an adjective, is also in the plural. It has to agree in gender and number. So this is that odd thing with the plural. Now remember, I said there's only 5 of these, so it's not a big deal, but they do exist. And they're both masculine, so im ending on both of them. Okay, then we have achad he'arim. Now this here, we have our dalet, right? So we know it's masculine. Achad, this is the construct form. He'arim, har is mountain, and this is an indefinite status here. The he, the article, and in the plural. This comes from Genesis 22:2, where God tells Abraham to go to a mountain, go to one of the mountains he will show him. So this is one of the mountains, hence the construct here. Okay, so this is a masculine construct. This is masculine absolute. This is masculine absolute plural. These are both singular, of course. Here we have pa'am echat. Now this is feminine, right? Because we have the tav. So we know this one's feminine. And this one you can deduce has to be feminine because number 1, the numeral 1, is an attributive adjective that has to agree in gender number. So we know this has to be feminine. And if you look it up, you'll find it is, in fact, pa'am. This is from Joshua 6:3, and it means one time. It has to do with going around the city of Jericho. Go around it one time. And then do that again for 6 days. So this is an example of a feminine one. I didn't put an example of the feminine. Well, I only have one here. I don't think I have any more, no. Should have put. So I had an example of this feminine one here. But this one also exists, of course. Feminine absolute or construct, they're the same. So there you have number 1. The important thing with number 1 is that it is an attributive adjective. Let's look at number 2. Now number 2, unlike number 1, is a substantive, so it functions more like a noun. So let us write these out again. So we'll put masculine, feminine, and absolute, construct. So number 1 is, or not number 1, number 2 in the masculine absolute is shnayim. Shna, stresses here. Shnayim. Now, im is the plural ending, but ayim is the dual ending, right? So, no great surprise. It's not surprising that you have a dual ending on the number 2. Shnayim, very natural. The feminine is shtayim. Let me try and fit it on here. Okay, shta. So this here is our dagesh lene. actually, it must not be a Dagesh Lene, it must be a Dagesh Forte, I would guess, because this is a vowel. Shtaim, shtaim. So it also has the dual ending, ayim, ayim, but it has a tate, or a tav, instead of a nun. So again, the feminine is marked by a tav. It's not at the end, but it's still got the tav. So think tav for feminine, you'll get these straight. Now, these are the absolutes, and we have constructs as well. Schnee. Oops. Got a good yud there. Okay. So, Schneim is Schnee in the construct. Again, we've seen this before, where either the im of the plural or the ayim of the dual becomes a in the construct, just like nouns. And then over here, this is steh. So the first part's the same. Kind of a funny tav there, but I don't know why I'm not writing so well right now. Steh. Shtaim, steh. Shnaim, schnee. And again, we have the tav going through here on the feminine. In this case, we have a nun here. In the number 1, this was marked by the dalet. I guess what's more important is not the dalet and the nun, but the fact that the feminine is marked with a tav. Okay, let's look at some examples. We have here shnei vanim. Now, there's no tav, shnei, so we know this is masculine, and we have a, so we know it's construct, so this is masculine, construct, and vanim. We don't have a Dagesh Lene here because of the vowel being so close to it. Otherwise, it would be banim, but this is sons, right? So masculine as well, masculine plural, and this is feminine or masculine construct. And so this is 2 of sons. So this is in construct here. 2 of the sons, or 2 of sons, literally. Another example is Shnayim Banim. So here we have the absolute, and it's masculine. There's no tav. Shnayim Banim. So 2 sons, something like that. And then finally we have Banim Shnayim. So it's the same as this one, only reversed. Shnayim Banim, Banim Shnayim. So what we see from this is that there are 3 ways to order the number 2 with nouns. Remember, these are substantives. They're not adjectives that are modifying them. They're really substantives. So just sort of sit next to them. One is to have the construct followed by the noun, okay, and a plural noun. The noun's in the plural if it's dealing with number 2. If you have a construct, it's going to be before. You're not going to have a construct following. It's going to be before. You can also have the absolute followed by the noun, or you can reverse it here and have the noun first, banim, noun followed by the number 2 in the absolute. So the absolute, the number 2, shnayim, in the absolute can either precede or follow the noun. But if it's construct, it has to precede. So that's number 2. Let's look at numbers 3 through 10. Now these ones are also substantives. It's really number 1 that is attributive adjective that's different. The rest of them are substantives. And they agree, they do not agree in gender. Number 2, even though it isn't an adjective, it still agrees in gender. Okay, you've got masculine, this is sons, and you have masculine examples here, right? Shnei, shnayim, shnayim, these are all masculine. They all have the nun, they don't have the tav. So they agree in gender. Number 3 to 10, we get something weird. We get a gender flip. This is where the number or how should I put this? A masculine noun will be modified by the feminine number, and a feminine noun will be modified by a masculine number. So not only do they not agree in gender, but they're actually opposites. It's not just anything goes. They have to be the opposite gender. So I call this a gender flip. Gender flip. And we'll see it in more than just 3 to 10. We see it in 3 all the way down to 10. We will also see it in 13 down to 19, not 20. 20 is normal. And we will also see it in 100 and in 1000. Okay? These are the numbers that have this gender flip. So 1 and 2 are normal. They're out, if we go like this here. So 1 and 2 agree with the noun that they modify or associated with in gender. 3 to 10 do not. 11 and 12 do. So they correspond to 1 and 2. 13 again has a gender flip all the way to 19. 20 is normal and then goes on. And then 100 and 1000 also have this gender flip. So, kind of an odd thing. Let's look at some examples. Actually, let's look at our chart. Here we go. Here we have the chart for number 3 to 10. So, we had, if you learn to count, at least the way I learned to count numbers in modern Hebrew, you went achat, shtayim. So you had the feminine ones here, and then shalosh, arba. So you basically learn the numbers that you use to modify feminine nouns. Achat and shtayim are both the feminine ones for 1 and 2, and then shalosh, because of this gender flip, shalosh, being the masculine one, will modify feminine numbers. Anyway, that's just by way of interest. So we have shalosh is number 3, arba, number 4, chamesh, sheish, sheva, shmone. Here we have holam vav, here we have a holam, it's the only difference, but you pronounce them the same way. Shmone, tesha, eser. Okay? Now in the construct, they're not too difficult. Shalosh becomes shalosh, so just a reduction of the first vowel. Arba, arba, so that doesn't change at all. Chamesh, chamesh, well, you just have a reduction of the first vowel, but you hardly hear the difference. Sheish and sheish, no difference. Sheva becomes sheva. Okay, so you have an accent movement, and that's all you have here, or you have the reduction of the vowel as well. Sheva. Sheva, sheva. Shmone, shmone, so this is the same as this, the one without the holam vav. Tesha becomes tesha, so accent shift and a reduction of the tsere to the sheva, and eser stays as eser. Now when I saw this, I was a little suspicious. I went and looked it up though, and in fact that is the case. It seems to be the case. The Masoretes put the accent on the first letter for eser even when it's in construct. So eser, so that's correct. So these are our masculine ones, right down here on this side. Our feminine forms end in a. Okay? And we've seen that before. It's an ending, permissible ending for feminine nouns. So basically it's these with the a on the end. Shalosh becomes shalosha. Arba becomes arba'a. Chamesh, chamesha. Sheish, shesha. So you got some vowel changes on the end here. Here and here and here. It's almost like the construct because you're adding an ending. Sheva, shiva. Shmone, shmona. Tesha, tisha. Eser, asara. So those are our feminine absolute endings. Then the construct, we have et for almost all of them. And we've seen that before. This is a normal construct ending for feminine singular nouns. So we see it here. Corresponds to a, et, all the way down, except for one here that says at. So we have shelosha becomes sheloshet. Arba'a, arba'at. Chamesha, chameshet. Shisha, sheshet. Shiva, shivat. Okay, a little different there, but still has the tav. Shmona, shmonet, shmonat. Okay, so either shmonet, shmonat, either of them there. Tisha, tishat. Asara, aseret. Okay, so back to the et there. So those are the numbers 3 through 10. And again, you have gender flips. So these ones here, these masculine ones here, these are what you would use with feminine nouns. And these are the ones that you would use with masculine nouns. So let's look at some examples. We have sheloshet banim. Okay, now we know this is feminine because we have the et ending and it's construct. So this is feminine construct. And banim, this is sons, right? Masculine. So this is 3 of sons, or something like that. Here we have shelosha vanim. This is a vowel ending. Comes hey, and so we've lost our dagash lene there for banim becomes vanim because of this vowel being so close. So we have shelosha, feminine, absolute, okay, with banim, shelosha vanim, 3 sons. So what we have here, these are masculine and these are feminine. Look at the next one here. We have shelosh banot. Okay, banot, if you remember your vocabulary, this is daughters. And so this is feminine, obviously. Daughters are feminine. And this here is the masculine construct form, right? There's no and there's no et, and there's no ending at all. It's just shalosh. Shalosh would be the absolute. Shalosh is reduced here, is the construct. So we have masculine linking up with feminine, just like feminine linked up with the masculine. And then our last example here, shalosh banot. So we can have 3 of daughters, construct, or we can have shalosh banot, 3 daughters, this being absolute. But again, masculine with a feminine noun. So in terms of order, we have the construct. If you have a construct, it always precedes the noun. So construct is here and then the noun, and this is the construct with noun. The absolute, the 2 that I have the absolute preceding the noun. I presume you could flip that, just like we saw with number 2. I'm not sure. But construct, in any case, needs to precede the noun it modifies. So I think that's it. So that's numbers 1 through 10. The chief things to remember here, other than the words themselves, is that number 1 is an attributive adjective. The rest are substantives. And number 3 to 10 have the gender flip. So they modify nouns of the opposite gender.